It's your boy, Dark Sage, back with another video. And today, we're coming back with part 2 of What If Deku Was Crazy. And this part is going to be a lot more gory. So if you don't like gore, blood, I don't know, stuff like that, you might not want to watch this. But we cut back to when Deku's tongue kissing Toga while Kirishima is on the end of his scythe. And everybody's like, oh my god, how could he do this? And Bakugo basically gets a boost of confidence seeing his friend get hurt. And he's like, Deku, I won't ever forgive you. And so he basically bum rushes Deku. And then the time he's doing this, Toga basically stabs him in the shoulder with her bone manipulation that Shigaraki gave her last episode. Oh, and by the way, please like and subscribe. Please. It really helped me out. But, yeah. So, Bakugo gets stabbed in the shoulder and is bleeding. And when this happens, Eraserhead is like, Ida, go get All Might. Run as fast as you can. And he's like, yes, sir. And he takes off. And Toga shoots a bone at him. And it, like, gives him a flesh wound. It gives Ida a flesh wound in his arm, on his arm. And so Ida takes off with the flesh wound and is bleeding. And so Deku's like, oh no, that little brat won't get away. And so Deku basically makes out, since he can manipulate blood, he could like make, or whatever liquid he wants, he could like make animals in junk. I said joint. He can make animals in junk. So he makes a python and sends it after Ida. But as soon as he does that, Eraserhead erases his quirk. And so he lets go of Toga and rips his scythe out of Kirishima. And after he does that, he stomps on his head, knocking him out instantly. So he's sitting there bloodied and knocked out on the brink of death. But he doesn't kill him just yet. They want to kill All Might, not the little kids or whatever. So Deku's like, I'll give you 5 seconds to give me back my quirk, or I'm going to slide you. And Eraserhead like, slide? What does that mean? And he's like, don't give me my quirk in 5 seconds, and you gonna find out. And he basically counts to 5, and he hits Eraserhead with the meanest haymaker you've ever seen in your life. Like, he hit that man with 2 lefts and a right, and he's knocked out cold. And shoot, he punched that man so hard he had him stumbling. He had that man stumbling before he was knocked out. But shit, I'm stupid. But now Eraserhead is knocked out, and so is Kirishima and Bakugo. And the same thing basically happens at the USJ, except for the fact that all the villains, all like the the low tier villains are getting knocked out easier because they're absolute garbage. And yeah. And so Class 1A is basically beating all of the villains without Bakugo, Kirishima, and Eraserhead. And then All Might shows up. And Kirishima's like, release the Nomu. And the Nomu comes out. But for some reason, it's weaker. Like it doesn't have its shock absorption or its regenerating properties. So when All Might punches it, it takes more damage. But it still puts up a hell of a good fight. Like a hell of a good fight. It has All Might tired. But once All Might gets tired and only has like 5 minutes left before he transforms into that skinny little crackhead of a human, all the other heroes show up, like Cementos, Endeavor, Midnight, all of them. And Deku's like, more fun. And Toga's like, I want all of your blood. And so Toga throws a bunch of needles towards all of them. And they all the needles have string on them. And when they get into the heroes, they're like, what the hell did she just do to us? And she winds them back and takes the blood. And it's like, mine now. And Kirishima's like, let's go. Both of you. Or all of you. No. He just said, come on, the both of you, come on. And Deku's like, I'll be back soon. I can make a water portal and just come back. I want to have some fun with them first. And Kirishima and Toga are like, don't die. And so they leave. And Deku's like, I won't. And so everybody just thinks his quirk is blood manipulation. So Deku makes a gun out of his blood. And he starts firing. Absolutely firing blood bullets at all of them. He pierces Endeavor in his shoulder and his leg. And Endeavor is out of commission. Because this blood is infected. It's like poisonous blood. But it won't kill you. Because he doesn't want them dead yet. Not yet. And so he's basically toying with them. But he's also like, I have to set an example. So he's looking around. And he's like, oh yes. Look at all of them. Look at all of them. Spazzing out. Screaming, crying, in agony and pain. And he basically enjoys this. And without him knowing, he activates his Ukiura mode. And his blood surrounds his whole body. And he looks like this, but like all the black stuff is red. And it's slowly surrounding his body. And Deku's like, his voice is starting to turn into like the uncontrollable hollow voice. So he's losing his voice out of excitement. He's like, I'm gonna kill you all. You're all gonna die. And he starts laughing hysterically. And then he rushes Cementos, cuts off his arm, then cuts off his other arm. And then once he does all that, he goes to Midnight. At Midnight, you know her fine ass. She low key cute. She low key cute. So Deku runs up behind her and grabs her tits. Demonetization. I already know. I already know, YouTube. I already know. Relax. I already know. I already know. But he grabs he grabs her tits and starts jiggling them junks. And she gets flustered immediately. And she starts letting out that little smoke. She rips the pin off her wrist and starts letting out smoke. And Deku's like, that won't work. Plus, I don't want you. I already have Toga. She's 20 times better. And so he basically chops her in the back of the neck and then goes to Endeavor. And he looks at Todoroki and smiles and is like, I want you to remember this. And he stabs Endeavor in the stomach and is like, I know you don't like him. I know you don't like your father. I know you despise him. But just know, if you don't start using your fire side, you're going to end up just like him. And then he basically slams his scythe into him and kicks him in the head. And Endeavor goes flying through walls. Like, he flies out of the USJ. And he's consistently flying through walls because Deku accidentally used too much power. He didn't want to rebuild that until later. But Corona. But he's, matter of fact, yeah, I will tell you, he's gonna have a harem. That's all I'm gonna say. He's gonna have a harem. He will have a harem. I don't know. I know how I'm gonna do it. He's gonna have a harem. But matter of fact, should I give him a harem? Comment down below if you want him to have a harem. If you want Deku to have a harem, just comment down below. And if you guys say yes, then he'll have a harem. But he already has Toga, so like, yeah. And so once he basically handles Endeavor, he basically makes a water portal out of the water that's around the USJ. And he dips. And they're all in shock. Cementos is heavily injured. Monetta's dead. Baki goes close to death. Because Toga shot bones throughout his whole body. And Monetta got absolutely obliterated by Deku. Kirishima is nearly dead because of that. Seth threw the body. And they wouldn't be surprised if Endeavor wasn't dead. I mean, they wouldn't be surprised if Endeavor was dead because of the way Deku did him. And so, basically, he gets back to the hideout. And Toga's sleeping. And this is gonna extremely, and I do mean extremely, piss Deku off. There are some other villains there, and they're touching Toga. Because she's like a deep sleeper, and they're touching her. And Deku is like, what are you guys doing? And they're like, and Kirishima's just standing there, looking at them touch Toga. And he's like, hey, I'm not in this. This has nothing to do with me. And Deku's like, what are you guys doing? It's like unknown villains, like no names. We'll say they're no names. And he's basically like, who said that you can touch her? And they're like, shut up, Pipsqueak, before we come over there and kill you. Dick was like, and he starts laughing hysterically. And he's like, he yells, Toga, wake up. And Toga's like, what? And she sees all the men around her, and she freaks out. And her shirt's unbuttoned, and she's like, oh my god, Izuku, I didn't do this, I promise. And he's like, I know. They tried, and they failed. Now they will pay for their sins. And Deku makes his blood scythe, and in one fatal swoop cuts off all of their heads. And blood is all over him. Like, all their blood is on Deku. Like, this nigga was bathing in blood. And he licks him. He licks his lips, and it's like delicious. And then he's like, Toga, here's some blood samples if you want them. And Toga's like, nah, I'm good. And so Kirishima's like, you didn't have to be that messy. And Deku's like, shut up. Why'd you just sit there and let them do that? He's like, because I knew you would be back soon. And I knew you would kill them. I didn't want to get my hands dirty. It's like, makes sense. And then Kirishima's like, y'all trying to go get some food? He's like, alright, but we gotta put on disguises. He's like, alright, I got you. And then Shigaraki's like, alright, Deku, or he's like, Midoriya, what do you have in mind? No, he calls him Deku too. He calls him Deku. Because Deku means can do nothing or can do anything. And Deku can do anything because he's a god. But he calls him Deku. He's like, Deku, what do you have in mind? And Deku's like, dang, I said Deku like 100 times, at least 100 times. But and Deku's like, he's like, my blood. And he surrounds Shigaraki and blood, and he surrounds Toga in his blood, and it basically forms a whole new body. And Shigaraki's like, we are gonna need this. And Deku's like, for what? You and Toga are gonna do some recon. And Deku's like, recon where? And Shigaraki's like, recon at UA. And I'm gonna leave it off there. But if you guys enjoyed this, please give it a like and subscribe. My like goal for this video will be 7 likes. No. If this video can get 5 likes, I'll do part 3 tomorrow evening. Alright, guys. Bye.